Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live from the Tower, your weekly Destiny show. We've got some new news about Onslaught. We've got not new news about Onslaught. Well, I guess it's kind of new. We know the rewards we're going to be getting from Onslaught. We know about the new social space, and we've got some things to go over. So, first and foremost, I'm going to give a quick rundown of everything we know off of Onslaught and Into the Light. First off, Onslaught is a 10 to 50 wave horde mode that you can do in a ritual playlist style activity or with a group of your own fire team. We have a new rep known as Hype, which will be in Shax's inventory in the new social space. The new social space is called the Hall of Champions, which will house all of our new rewards. Think of it like the treasure hoard from the 30th anniversary pack. And then we have 12 new Brave weapons. We have a new Year 1 inspired armor. We have a Super Black shader returning. The Brave weapons get enhanced perks. We are getting 100 more vault spaces. We have 2 exotic missions coming to the game with Into the Light. And we are getting a new PvE challenge called the Pantheon. We're getting 3 PvP maps, and we are getting unique ornaments for all 12 of those Brave arsenal weapons. Okay, now that the roundup is out of the way, let's dive into it a little bit more, because there's some things going on that not everybody's entirely happy about. So we have 12 weapons, and they are, I'm going to try and find the list here. We have Midnight Coup, Mountaintop, Forbearance, Blast Furnace, Luna's Howl, Hammerhead, the Stranger's Rifle, Hung Jury. What else do we got? Oh, there's a lot. I can't remember off the top of my head. I might have to pull this up. Let's pull this up. Okay. The list of returning weapons are Mountaintop. The list of returning weapons are Mountaintop, Recluse, Hammerhead, Blast Furnace, Edge Transit, Luna's Howl, Forbearance, Succession, Midnight Coup, Hung Jury, Fallen Guillotine, and Elsie's Rifle, formerly known as the Stranger's Rifle. Now, that's a lot of weapons. Here's the issue that some of the community has with these weapons. It's not what weapons are coming back, although some people obviously would wish that other guns came back over certain guns. That's neither here or there. It's not the fact that there's 2 raid weapons in this loot pool, which some people actually have a really big problem with that. I don't know why, because they don't have the same roles as far as we know as their initial raid weapon counterparts. And they're going to have a new, what was it, intrinsic? Is that the word? The intrinsic perk or the foundry perk? The last call, origin trait. There we go. They're going to have new origin traits. No, people are upset because half these guns are getting time gated. So when the event launches April 9th, we will be getting everything except Midnight Coup, Mountaintop, Forbearance, Blast Furnace, Luna's Howl, and Hammerhead. Those are all going to be time gated, and they will start towards, I believe it's each week after the 9th, leading up to May 21st. I could have that date mixed up, so don't quote me on that. But people are not happy with the time gating. I don't know, they're just tight about it. I don't know why. We've had so much time gated stuff in Destiny. It's pretty much the norm. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest fan of time gated content. You've heard me say before on previous episodes, or if you've played with me, you've heard me say, I hate drip fed content. I do. I can't stand it. I wish they would have gotten away from the seasonal model and went strictly to the old expansion model, which is they dropped the yearly expansion with a year's worth of content and they let people play through it at their own pace. That's always been my preferred method of playing Destiny, instead of coming back week by week to get this episodic story and all of that stuff. It's not my favorite thing. But why am I not mad about the weapons? Well, I'll tell you why. 1, we're getting half of them right off the bat. 2, we're getting 3 different types of armor right off the bat. 3, you can attune to a specific weapon, so you can chase that. Now that sucks if the specific weapon you want doesn't show up until the end of the event. But the end of the event is still a handful of weeks away from Final Shape. And what's good about that is the attunement. I believe if they said this right, when you do the attunement quest, it has a higher chance of you getting the version of the gun with the unique ornament. So the unique ornament kind of gives the barrel of the gun this really nice golden glow, and the rest of the gun kind of has one of those black armory type of shaders flowing through it. They look really cool. But you can only get them, I believe, from these quests that our site will give you in the Hall of Champions. It's going to take me a minute. It's a new space. It's new things we got to get through. So if there's a particular gun you want, you can farm it. And they have stated in multiple spaces in the TWAB and in blog posts and stuff like that, these weapons are staying when the Final Shape launches, which leads me to believe Onslaught is going to be an evergreen feature, which we talked about in last week's video. I think it's a huge deal if it is, because Bungie's evergreen content is not the strongest, so something like Onslaught being added to evergreen content would really help the game out in the long haul, especially if we have to wait for a year or so for the next big expansion or the next big arc to begin, whatever they decide to do. So I'm not that uptight about it. Then again, I am in the minority of people when it comes to this kind of stuff. The reason being is because I have other games to play. I don't play Destiny 2 Die Hard, at least not anymore. So I'm bouncing between a lot of different stuff. So knowing that I have set guns that I can work towards, and then I have more stuff to come back to, it's going to keep someone like me more engaged. But I do understand why people are a little uptight about it. So now, let's talk about the exotic missions. I don't know what other people are thinking. I'm in the same boat as Cross on this one. I think we're getting, what's it called? Whisper of the Worm in 0 Hour. But we could... I don't actually know what other exotic missions are left besides Hawkmoon. Because we have Presage. We have Vox Obscura. We have... What's the other one in the Rotator? I feel like there's a third exotic mission in the Rotator, and I just can't think of it. We have the Navigator exotic mission, which I assume will go in the Rotator post Lightfall, once Final Shape comes out. But I can't think of any outside of those specific two, because all the other exotic guns you can buy in the kiosk for Conquest and all this stuff. So the way they kind of explained these rewards and how they're going to work is obviously Shaxx is going to have his own reputation called Hype. And then they're going to be, I believe, tokens of champions or tokens of the champions, something like that. And that's going to drop from Onslaught and the broader game of Destiny 2. So what they're doing is they're making sure if you want to earn these rewards, you can earn them. What they're doing is they're making sure if you want to earn these rewards, you can do them at any means necessary. You don't have to play Onslaught, because if horror modes aren't your thing, I could honestly understand you being like, man, I have to play this game mode that I don't like to get the gun that I do like, and that can be a bit of a bummer. So the way the armor's set up is it's set up kind of like the 30th anniversary, where there's chests in a semicircle, and the more tokens you have, you can go to the chest, pop the chest. Now, I assume it's per character, not per account, which would make sense the way they've handled this kind of stuff over the years. And I'm not entirely mad. There are other ways to kind of turn the loot pool in your favor. There's weapon quests, which will drop the specific gun for that quest, and they're all kind of named around the guns. Like there's one for Hung Jury, and there's, you know, one for all the other guns, and they're all named. Our site has bounties, Shaxx has bounties. But then there are these holograms of Shaxx around the social space, very reminiscent of the Tribute Hall. And there's my cat. She's playing. Where is it? There she goes. She's playing with her jingle ball. There are these holograms of Shaxx, and when you go up to them, you attune to them, and each one of them is a specific weapon that you can get. And that has the higher rate of you getting that weapon when you open the chest next to Shaxx or when you finish an activity. But they said you're going to be getting loot all the time. You're going to be getting guns all the time. These guns can have enhanced perks, which is huge because the only other guns outside of craftable guns that are getting enhanced perks are coming in the final shape. So I guess this is kind of a taste at non-craftable enhanced perks. So that's really neat. And I'm looking over my notes here. This is kind of all there is really to talk about this week. And to be honest, Super Black coming back. Every hunter is creaming their pants because Super Black is arguably every hunter's favorite shader. You cannot tell me otherwise. I was always a fan of Glowhoo. And there's other really good shaders in Destiny 1 that I think they could bring back, and it would be very nice and very nostalgic. But, you know, I can keep hoping all I want. It doesn't mean I'm going to get what I want. So, here's what I'm confused on. They showed us the armor. It's the parade armor. It's like this updated version of the Destiny 2 Year 1 vanilla armor. But then in the TWAB last week, they said we were getting a Destiny 1 inspired armor. I don't know if they meant a Year 1 inspired armor or if there's another armor set we haven't seen that's also Destiny 1 themed. Which, if there is, I mean, that's fantastic. We're getting 12 new guns. We would be getting 2 armor sets. We'd be getting at least 1 to 2 new game modes, 2 exotic missions back, 100 more vault spaces, although I think that's coming in the final shape. We'd be getting 3 PvP maps, and we'd be getting Super Black shader back. We'd be getting the new reputation to grind, a new activity. This event, and I know we really have to get our hands on it to see how it plays and to see how good it is, because it could be repetitive. Just turn your brain off and just right. But it could be fun. It could be engaging enough where it keeps you in there. They did say, and I mentioned this last week, that the 50-round mode, they want to be like a GM. So that's where you have the communication in your hardcore gameplay. The normal ritual playlist, that's just for you to kind of, if you don't have a lot of time, you hop in, you do your 10 waves, you get your gear, you get out. So if they're not locking any of this gear behind the legendary 50 wave mode, this is a nice sized update. Is it as big as 30th anniversary? Some would say no, because that gave us a whole dungeon, right? We had a whole dungeon. We had a whole new game mode. We had a new quasi social space, all these rewards, a new exotic quest with, is it Forerunner? But I really think this is going to be a decent sized update, and this is going to be something that keeps maybe not everybody engaged until the final shape, but it could be something that keeps a lot of people engaged until the final shape. Because to earn the Super Black shader, you have to max out your rank with Shaxx. And there's probably some people who no life this game, who don't have jobs, or all they do is they play this game 8 hours a day. Yeah, they could probably have it within the first couple of weeks. Yeah, sure. I'm not denying that. But it gives stuff to chase. Now, if you're like me and you're replaying through the game on your Titan and you're looking at triumphs and challenges and all that stuff, and you see an event like this and you're like, oh, this is more stuff I have to play. And like, I don't have enough time to play all of it. It can be overwhelming. I get it. But just remember that a lot of stuff, while there are some things that are leaving into the final shape, I'm sorry, I keep saying into the light, with the final shape, there's a lot of stuff that's still staying with final shape. We know all previous expansions aren't getting sunset. All those titles and seals tied to them aren't getting sunset. None of the dungeons are getting sunset. The only thing that's getting sunset, which still kind of sucks, is the seasonal content for Lightfall, which you have plenty of time to play through all that seasonal content. And if you really had a good team and had a guide on how to optimize, I'm sure you could get all the triumphs and all the seals for those 4 seasons before they went away and still play Into the Light. It would take a lot of work, but I definitely think you can do it. I mean, this coming from the guy who got the Season of the Worthy title right before Season of Arrivals dropped. It was another buzzer beater. it's the story of my Destiny career as buzzer beaters. I put a post on the other day about how I got Redrix's broadsword right before Beyond Light launched, like the night before it went away forever. So it's one of those things where if it's something you really want and you don't want to miss out on it, then with Fireteam Finder, it's even easier now if you don't have a static group or you don't have people you can turn to and say, hey, I need help, I really want to do this. Otherwise, there's some great clans out there if you use LFG, and there's, 2 clans that I've run with, the Halcyon Knights and the Hoots Force. The guys and gals in those groups are always fun to play with, and they've helped me out through a ton of challenges, and I've helped some of them out through a ton of challenges. But if you want it bad enough, and it's something you really want and you really need before Final Shape, you have plenty of time. I believe in you. You can do it. With all that being said, I'm actually going to head off because I need to catch my Titan up through all the campaigns before I can even start to worry about all the triumphs and the titles and the seals and all that. So I'm gonna upload this, and then I'm gonna head out and I'm gonna go play some Witch Queen, which is free for the rest of this week on PS Plus. If you don't have it, I highly recommend you get it before it goes away next Tuesday. With all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, fly safe, Guardians.